Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Writers Corner live show. We have a beautiful, beautiful day out here where I am. And we like on our show to bring you authors. We like to connect authors with other authors and authors with aspiring authors and maybe people who are even curious about writing. So today we have on our show Alysia Seymour. We're so excited that you're here with us today. I'm so excited to meet you. So first of all, will you tell us where you're from, where you live?
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I live in San Diego, California.
Okay.
So it's a really cool day outside today, but it's going to be warming up pretty soon for
Yeah,
the spring weather. Looking
I
forward to it.
know. Yeah, it's so beautiful here too. So, anybody who's watching the show, please let us know in the comments or even on the replay where you're watching us from in the world, because our show is global and we have friends who pop in from all over the place. And we like to say hello to everybody on YouTube and LinkedIn as well. We're so glad that you're joining us. And I'm excited about Alysia today because she is not only an author, but she is also part of a publishing company, correct?
Yes.
So
Right.
she is going to talk to us about, behind the scenes, kind of what it's like to be, an author and also a publisher, because it really is two sides of a fence, isn't it?
Yeah. Having done both sides of it by myself, I know that it can feel challenging for a creative person to go to the publishing side and figuring it all out on your own. So, helping authors be able to do that is really exciting to be able to do.
So I want to ask you, how long have you been a published author? And then, like, where in your journey did you decide to go to the other side? We'll call it the other side. So when did
Right.
you decide to make that jump to go to the other side and kind of be on the back behind the scenes for your not only yourself but other authors? And I think it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, doesn't it make you more of a compassionate person in the side of publishing, because you kind of know what authors are going through, as opposed to never being published yourself or trying to get published? It kind of makes the whole experience different, doesn't it?
Yeah, it definitely does. So I became a published author in 2013. All of my work is self-published. So I have 4 books put out. They're all self-published. And when I decided to do the publishing company, this is really actually extremely brand new, because I was approached just over a month ago by somebody we'd connected in a group we're part of. She's also a writer. She writes fiction for kids. And we were both kind of doing the writing coach thing. But she approached me about starting this publishing company that is where we take the work and self-publish the book for the author. So the author keeps all of the rights, all of the royalties, but we do all of the work. So they don't have to stress. We get the cover done, we get the interior done, all of the steps. There's editing, content editing, copy editing, and it's all done in one package. We take care of it. We have a team who takes care of it for you. And it's really, to have 2 authors running the business, there is a lot of compassion there, because we know how stressful it is to try to figure out the self-publishing thing. So that's why we wanted to do this, to help authors who may not ever write a book because they're too terrified of the publishing aspect of it.
Right, absolutely. And you know what I want to do? I'm going to read your bio real quick. And I want to, after I'm done, I want you to clarify for people what do you call the kind of publishing that you're doing? Because right now, not just with COVID going on and how everything's changing, going online, but the world of publishing and being an author, all of that is just, it's taking on such a different role in many different ways from both sides, actually. So I want you to kind of clarify that for us. But I want to read Alysia's bio, because I didn't do that yet. But Alysia is a fantasy author who explores life, meaning, and magic through her novel writing. specifically inspirational and magic-filled stories through rewriting her own life experiences, which I think is really cool. Emotions and challenges through fictional stories. Alysia hopes to inspire people to their own awakening journey through her novels, just as writing the same novels allowed her to awaken to who she really is. And I really think that's so fascinating because and you and I spoke, a little bit about that, taking your own life journeys and your experiences and putting them into a book format. Sometimes it makes it maybe more believable for people, but then it also allows them to kind of fantasize about their own lives and maybe experiences they have had too. So I think it's really awesome that you do that. I think it's fascinating and very exciting. And maybe this will inspire others to do the same thing. I know I'm looking at doing it myself. So taking those life stories, because, sometimes I think things happen to us and we're not sure, will people really believe the story if we write it as a memoir or an autobiography or, things like that. People may really ridicule the book, may not do well, and you're just not really sure what kind of response it would get. So putting it in that fantasy and that format is a much easier place for people to accept, I think, because don't we accept Star Wars?
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know anyone's had that journey, but still we accept it. So
yeah, and I think that's the beauty of fiction writing, is because if you look at Star Wars, like I talk about, the journey to awakening is a very spiritual thing. And there's so much of the underlying journey of awakening in stories like Star Wars, but it's covered up with all of the cool fantasy stuff, the sci-fi stuff. And so it entertains us, but there's also a deeper message in all of that stuff. And that's why that's why I started writing the way I do, because it adds so much more depth to writing fantasy, and because that's what I write, is fantasy. And it just allows for healing for yourself as you're writing too. And then the readers who come across your book are obviously led to it for a reason, and they'll experience some healing through the character's journey too.
Right. Like Narnia. Narnia is one of those. It's one of our favorites. And so it's got that great, deeper spiritual message in there. And I love that writers do that. And it's the beauty of the no boundaries of writing and creativity and your mind. So it really, it's so wonderful that we have kind of a format for that and a place for that to go. So it's just brilliant, I think. So how do you categorize the kind of publishing house that you have? Is it a small press? Is it medium? Is it just kind of in its own category? And I'm asking this question because I have met several publishers who are doing the same type of thing, that what you're doing, their genre is different, but it is the same format. And so I'm really curious about it. And I'm sure other authors are too, because this may be an open door for them and something that they could look into that would be very helpful, because it is so hard maneuvering through the book world, and a cover and editing and formatting, and what do I do? I've been traditionally published, and now I've looked at some self-publishing, and it's like it's kind of going from one country to another with a whole different language, isn't it?
Right. Yeah, it's a big shift. And right now we are a small press, but we're hoping to expand as we go, because we are at the very beginning of this journey. And so our focus is for authors who write books for children, starting with beginner chapter books all the way up to young adult. So that's what we focus on. And what I want to say about what they call the term hybrid publishing is kind of the term that's been taken on for publishing houses that operate like we do. But the difference is a lot of them, they'll keep royalties on the back end, right? So you don't get to keep all the royalties. They have you pay up front for the package, and then they purchase the ISBN, and they own the ISBN, but it's attached to your book, so they own rights to your book. And I know this because I went through a publishing house just like this to self-publish my nonfiction book. And I didn't realize, I found out the hard way that was part of the process, that I didn't get to keep all of the royalties. And so that's why me and my business partner are really passionate about making sure the author keeps all of their rights and all of their royalties, because a lot of the companies out there now that are self-publishing authors for them, they're still keeping some of the rights to the book or some of the royalties. And we want to not do that at all. We want to support the author 100% in the journey.
So do you offer different packages then, right, for what a person needs? Because somebody may not need everything, and then you may, and then you have people who come in and say, I'm green as the grass and I have no idea what I'm doing and I need some help. So and then after you and do y'all have marketing packages as well for people?
Yes, so we do offer marketing. There's options where you can just purchase the one service you need. Like if you just need a cover, then you can go in and tell us you just want the cover, you don't want a whole package, and then we can just set you up with our cover designer. And it's the same with marketing. And our highest tier package, we offer marketing within the package, but you can also just opt to have help with marketing. And the way we do that is we have somebody actually show you how to market yourself as a self-published author, because when you're self-published, you want to know how to do it yourself, because you own all the rights. It's your book. You know, you are the brand of the book and your author company. And so we show you how to do it so that you know what to do, and you can just keep doing that and grow your readership with confidence. Because I know marketing is not my strength at all. And I struggled for years as an author trying to figure out how to market my book. So I'm glad that we found somebody who's really amazing to help authors who are creatives, you know, to market themselves in a way that's not terrifying, in a way that they can find the people for their books, and just to do it in a natural way, just by making connections with people.
Yeah, marketing is really hard. And you know, what I want, you know, anyone who's considering a hybrid type publisher, or, you know, totally self-publishing themselves, they're just completely on their own, you know, doing it themselves, or going the route of traditional publishing, you still have to market no matter what you do. Marketing is hands down there completely. It doesn't matter what backing you have. It doesn't matter, you know, who's behind you. If it's you, you have to market. Some of those things are taken care of with different companies. It depends on who you go, you know, who you go with, but you have to be prepared that you're going to have to do some marketing, because I think there are people out there who really believe that, you know, you get a book published and then it goes and it has all this magic that happens, right? And it just all of a sudden it's on a shelf, and it's in every Barnes and Noble, and it's in every Books a Million, and it's everywhere. And it's even in Walmart and Target, right? And then you just kind of sit back and wait for those checks to come, and then you go and write your next book. And it definitely isn't, it's nothing like that at all. It's completely opposite of that. It's like the easiest part is writing, and as struggling and difficult as editing is, I think that marketing part is even more difficult, because you really do have to put yourself out there. You know, my advice for anyone would be, you know, if you're not one of those people who can put yourself out there and you don't feel comfortable, then look at yourself as your book. That's what you're marketing. You're not marketing yourself, you're marketing your book. And so maybe if you take yourself out of the equation, then you'll feel better about calling people and saying, hey, can I come in and do, you know, a book signing? Can I do a book reading? You know, so for some people, they are terrified to be in front of people. But, you know, if you want your book to do well, you have to get in front of people. You have to share that.
Yeah, I understand that fear really well, because I was one of those for a long time. Like, no, I'm not going to a library to read my book. That's insane.
It's insane. I know. And, you know, even so, being a children's author, even being with a group of kids is sometimes really scary, you know, to me, because I'm like, okay, are they going to respond? Are they going to react? Are they going to like it? Or are they going to just be all like, oh, looking around, you know, picking their nose and whatever else kids do in a situation, you know? So, and you have to be, I think with children's books, though, you have to be that much more animated when you're sitting in a group of kids, as opposed to just like reading straight out of a chapter or a page or something to a group of adults. You don't have to be so animated. So I think it's a little more challenging when you're doing readings with children, you know?
Definitely. And they are very honest too. So there's no, adults will kind of conceal a little bit so they don't hurt your feelings if they're not really into it. But children are just, they're honest. And so if they don't like it, you're going to see that they don't like it. And it can feel intimidating, even especially with kids.
Yeah, or they're just going to outright tell you that sucked.
Yeah.
That was no good. And you're like, okay, thank you so much for your feedback.
Yeah.
So, oh my goodness. So, do you have any of your books with you that you can put up on screen and show us your books or book?
I have them behind me. I can grab one real quick.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
we'd love to see the cover of it. Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
So the one that did my, let's see. The person who's done my covers is the one we have on our team as the cover designer. So let me see. This is one.
Okay. And the Raven's Dreams is what it's called. Ooh, it looks cool.
Yeah, the Raven Dreams. And then this is the one I said that was a featured book. It's called The Wonder Soul.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. So it's I really like extremely high fantasy cover images. Which is why those are the way they are, like really magical feeling.
Yeah.
But it's really exciting when you have the book in your hand for the first time and you see it completed.
Oh, and it's crazy, isn't it? It's like it's like birthing a child, but it's that way for a woman, but it's that way for it's also that way for a man. I have men author friends, and they're like, yeah, I guess it's like that. And I'm like, well, a little bit. There's no physical pain involved. They're having a baby, so it's a little different. But now, what ages are your books geared for?
These are actually they could be a little bit young adult, but they're mostly adult fantasy. They're appropriate for young adults, I'll say that. But the protagonists are in their early 20s, so it's more, it's kind of borderline. It's really could go either way. So I just usually say young adult and adult fantasy.
Okay, so would you say 18 and up?
Yeah.
So if anybody's looking at these books and they're looking to maybe even buy them, maybe as a gift for one of their kids, or just send them to when the kids go back to college, that kind of thing. Yes.
Right.
It would be that'll be a great book for kids when they go back to college. Actually, I want to look at your books for my girls, actually, because I think they would like them.
Yeah. I actually had a 14-year-old girl read The Raven Dreams, and she loved it.
Oh, she did?
So yeah, I mean, it could be all the way down to teenage years. And up, because it's appropriate and it's safe for teenagers to read. There's nothing that's, adult only in the content.
Well, that's good to know for any parents that are watching and any kids who, happen to be watching as well. So in your books, and I know Bridgetti always wants to know this, are any of your characters in your books based on people in your real life? And do they know about it?
They definitely are. And no, I don't usually tell them because the way I rewrite my life through fiction is I bring experiences, which means the people that were involved in those experiences into the storyline. But it's obviously altered a lot because I write in fantasy worlds. So I can change the character up a lot and the name is different. And so there's no way they would really know that it was them anyways. So I don't usually bring it up because sometimes it's stuff that I had to sort out because we had, we had like a challenging time together and it left me feeling hurt, or maybe I hurt them. And so it's a way of me sorting that out. So I don't usually let them know that I'm writing about it in my novel.
That's good. But, it's also therapy, isn't it? It helps you to kind of work through that. And that is I've tried to explain that to I have explained it to my girls. The way movies turn out, it's usually the way that the person who wrote it wants it to turn out, because maybe it didn't turn out that way in their real life, and even our animated movies, a lot of times, I think, the endings turn out the way that someone who wrote it wanted it to, as opposed to what the actual thing that happened. And
Yeah, exactly.
That's so cool, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I love doing that as well in my books. And then it almost helps in a way that you start to manifest that ending in your life for yourself now, even though it didn't happen when you wanted it to. It starts to unfold now. Like, I helped someone write their novel in that way, and she literally was manifesting this stuff into her life as she was writing it. She was just so open to all of the idea, the flow of the universe and stuff. So it was literally changing her life as she wrote it.
Isn't that
That's cool.
amazing? That's really
Yeah.
cool, actually. I wish
Yeah,
all books happened that way.
I know. That would be awesome.
I know it would be. So you are, well, you have kids,
Mm-hmm.
and who is your biggest supporter? And how do you, you're at home now. I don't know. Did you work from home before all of this happened, the stay home and everything?
Did.
You
Yeah,
did.
I
Okay.
did. Mm-hmm.
So you've got yourself pretty worked out then in your schedule. Is it easier, would you say, or it's just kind of the same? It's not really that much different because, kids are home after school. And then, I keep kind of telling myself this is like a spring break or Christmas break or summertime. I
Right.
keep trying to tell myself that, so I can get through. So, because I stay
Yeah.
home as well, but when we're all home together constantly, like it is, I know it's even harder for people that are not used to this, but people who are more used to it, it's still very challenging. So, do you have a set schedule? Do you have help with your children? For moms out there who want to become writers, this is a good conversation to have and a topic to discuss, because I'm sure there are a lot of women out there, or even men, who go, I really want to write, but I have all of this in my life. I have no idea how I could even possibly add more. Because you probably get the same question I do. How do you find the time? How do you even make it work?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, my life has changed. It's not been that drastic because I'm somebody who's usually home a lot anyway. So to be home, on a lockdown, as they call it, isn't really that big of a thing. The biggest thing is that they closed the parks down, and the trails where I would go walk has been the hardest part. But having my kids home all day has made my schedule extremely difficult. I usually write in the mornings. It's my best writing time. And my mornings right now are dedicated to their schoolwork. Because if I don't sit them down to do it in the morning, it's not going to happen. They'll lose focus and start playing or get on tablets and TV shows. So it is challenging. And what's helped me in the past to continue writing is to tell myself, because when this all started, I didn't find time for writing at all. And then I started really missing, like, finishing this third book in the series, that I just want to finish this series because this is the end of it. And then I can move on to the next series that I've been wanting to start. So what I did last week is I said, okay, just sit down and make a goal of 100 words today and be proud that you did that. Don't beat yourself up to say, usually you write 1,500, so why are you even going to bother writing 100? Instead, shift the mindset to tell yourself, I wrote 100 words today, and look at how much my life has changed. The fact that I still made time to sit down, even if it's 20 minutes and only 100 words, that's still moving forward in my novel. And so I think it's just reframing the way you think of it, as you don't have to sit down and write pages and pages every day. It can just be a sentence or two, maybe a paragraph, and know that, it's going to go slower than you probably like it to right now, but you're still allowing the creativity to come out every day. Even if it's only for 10 minutes or 20 minutes, it's still something, and that still makes a difference.
That's everything you just said there. I love, and it's just so important. And an author friend of ours, Lisa Vanderwack, she said, and what you're talking about is this pivoting with purpose, right? We love that hashtag and that quote there, pivoting with purpose, because even getting in just a few minutes makes you feel like, right now, I think in our life, it makes you feel like you've just done everything, right? Just because you've given it just at least 100 words, because the morning time is a really good, that's my writing time as well. And we're doing the same thing. School starts at 9 o'clock in our house in the mornings. And if you don't get up super early, or I don't get up super early enough to get anything done, like in writing, before getting everything prepared for school and breakfast for everyone and all that stuff that goes along with that, then before you know it, it's like, wow, okay, so now it's noon, now it's 3, now I'm too tired, I can't focus. If I sit here and start writing, I'm going to fall asleep at my computer. Then it's time for dinner, then it's time for bed. And I know your children are young, and I have a young one, and so the battery never goes off. The battery's on from sun up to sundown. So that's taking a lot of our attention. So I think it's really a great point you're saying, you know, don't beat yourself up right now. Just go at your own pace. And even if you get 100 words in, oh my gosh, that's everything, because that's 100 more words you had than you did, you know, and if you never do it, it doesn't get done. So it's very, very pertinent to right now. And we have to really be gentle with ourselves right now and compassionate and go, hey, I showered today, or I didn't shower, but I got out of bed, right? Because I had to. So, and then I'm sure after all of this, there's going to be a plethora of books that come out about people's journeys through COVID-19. I have a feeling we're going to see a bunch of that, and lots of babies in 9 months. So, you know. So where can people find you? And especially if they want to ask you about you helping them with their publishing needs.
Yeah, so my website is alysiaseymour.com. It's the best place to just find everywhere. I'm on Instagram and Facebook as well, but my website's like the main place to go. And then our website for the publishing house is just getting finalized to go live. So it's not live yet, but our publishing house is called Turtle Sea Books. And that's going to be the website, turtleseabooks.com. So that's where you can go find us, I would say, in a few weeks. It'll be all up and running. So we'll have all the information on there of how you can work with us, what our packages are, how we help kids, because we're also going to focus on working with children, teaching little courses for them just to get started with storytelling and how they can start creating their own little books. Get them on the path. Yeah, that's
awesome. I would love to talk to you about that. My co-writer and I have this summer we're teaching a writing class. 1 week in June is for elementary kids, and 1 week in July is for middle high schoolers. And then we're putting together an online program to help kids to go from how to kind of understand and do that whole process, you know, and making up the story and like what it is they want to write about. And even if they end up just journaling for themselves, you know, how to get it out of here onto paper, because they all need an outlet, and it's a great outlet for anybody. So yeah, I'm excited to see what y'all do with all this, and we will be following. And from time, you know, we'd love to have you back on the show again so you can talk about where you are as compared to, you know, where you are then as compared to now, and how far things have come. And where can everybody find your books? On your website?
Yeah, they're all on my website, alysiaseymour.com.
Okay, that is so awesome. Well, I'm so glad that we got a chance to talk today, and thanks for sharing, you know, kind of your mom life and how you're maneuvering through and the advice for others. Do you have anything that you would like to say to anyone who is thinking about writing, they're looking for help, or they're a mom and an author or wannabe?
Yeah, so I have an approach that I call, this is my nonfiction book called Internal Journey of a Writer. And my take on writing is that you start within first. There's so much information out there to get started on how to write a book or how to write a novel, what you need to do. But really where you want to start is by getting quiet and going within and just sitting still and allowing, when you do that, you allow the story to just come to you, and then it starts to just flow through you, and there's not that stress and strain and doubt of, am I doing this right? Is it good enough? Because it feels right because it's just flowing through you, and it comes from first getting still enough to hear the story and what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's really, really good advice. Absolutely. Because when you get quiet, then things can flow. You can get your chattering mind out of the way, so that's really good advice. So we want to say thank you so much today for joining us here, and even on the replay, thanks for coming by. And look Alysia Seymour up, check out her books. In a couple weeks, she'll be available and ready to help if you are on the journey of self-publishing. And from Tennessee in the United States, it's goodbye for me for today. We'll see you soon. And goodbye, Alysia. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thank you, Mary. It's been great.